pregame that this shouldn't be a close game. This should have been a blowout in the swamp. It's unexcusable. I'm sorry, Gators, and I don't even know what to say right now. I have no idea how to respond to that. I believe there were many opportunities in this game where it didn't have to come to that. The missed field goal or and I hate blaming something on King Smack. He was due for a miss, but it's just frustrating, Gator fans, and I don't know what it is that I can say or do to make myself feel better right now. That was a blow. We needed that win to get bowl eligible, and now we're looking at LSU, Missouri, and Florida State. Two of those games away in Columbia and Baton Rouge. That, to me, is not promising. We needed this game. We needed this game to make those easier. Not that any game is easy, but we needed to take some pressure off of ourselves and get a bowl. Now, are we even in a position to get one? Can we win against one of these next three teams? We can't beat Arkansas in the swamp. We can't beat the worst team in the SEC in the swamp. Help me out, Gator fans. What do I have to go off of to believe that the Gators are going to win another game this year? I mean, we're 5-7. That's the Gator team we're looking at. Right now, that's what we are. We are a 5-7 team. And that is unacceptable. I'm not going to jump on the whole, start firing coaches, but we definitely have some work to do the rest of this season, and definitely in the off season. That was unacceptable. Maybe there's a storyline here where we didn't do what we did in South Carolina. We didn't do to Tennessee what we did to Tennessee. Maybe there's a storyline there, but to me, this is unacceptable when you've shown me that you can do that. Very disappointing. I'd love to know what you guys think. Am I being hard on our Gators right now? Is the wound still a little fresh? Maybe. I'm still in a little bit of shock, so I don't really feel it yet. I'm sure when I wake up in the morning, it's really going to hit me. Let's go ahead and get the Jack Daniels ready for the coffee, maybe, huh? I'm already as shit. It's 4 o'clock here, and I got the banquet going. Even smells like whiskey when I bring it to my face. Maybe I'm on the wrong drink. I guess a little stats breakdown here. We're looking at Arkansas total 480 yards, 481 yards total offense. Gators held to under 400 at 394. Gators are a little better in passing today, 282 as opposed to 255 for the Razorbacks. Rushing, they doubled our rushing, plus 2 yards, 226 for the Razorbacks, 112 for the Gators. And then here we are with the penalties again. We're back on, I know one of those being a delay of game that we took on purpose, one for them as well, but we're looking at 7 penalties for 55 yards, 6 for 45 on the Razorbacks. I'm glad to see, though, if I can bring a silver lining in this for you Gator fans, is that we are now on the turnover, the positive turnover, maybe positive, I don't know, but we do have some turnovers. We got the fumble recovery. We have an interception. Good amount of sacks that I was kind of impressed with today. Monmiela not being able to really get home, but definitely a lot of disruption to KJ Jefferson in the backfield. They adjusted well. And between him and Rocket Sanders, man, those are just some 2 big old tough boys. And we are not, as a Gator team, we are not good enough to tackle them. I guess that's just really how it is. We put on these shoulder tackles. I don't know at what point we started teaching kids to tuck your arm and hit. That was never taught to me. I've never taught that. So I don't know what it is about that tackling technique that is supposed to work. I know it makes for great oohs in the crowd when one connects, but we've got to wrap up. And when you're dealing with these big boys, if you think you're going to hit KJ Jefferson high with a shoulder and get a stop, he's going to embarrass you. And LSU's going to embarrass us. with that kind of tackling. Missouri is going to embarrass with that kind of tackling. And you think Jordan Travis is going to come to Gainesville and not put a show on? Come on now. We're going up against two Heisman candidates. Two out of our next three opponents, out of our last three, have Heisman candidates playing for them. And if you think that your defense is going to make tackles to an offense with a Heisman candidate quarterback, that's not going to happen. There's a reason, and he's not the only reason. Jordan Travis and the other boy's name. If you think that they're the only reason that they're Heisman candidates and not the people around them, then you're ignorant. That is not going to work against any of the offenses that we have left to face. We have to learn how to tackle. This is an infection with the Gators. It has been for a couple years. I don't know why we do this. That to me is not fundamental football. That is not the brand of Gator defense I want to see. It's not what I've witnessed most of my life. I'll say out of 35 years of my life, I've not seen this brand of defense from the Gators. I love Austin Armstrong. I don't think he is the root of the problem. I like his energy. I like what he's doing there. We do see improvement. And let me take a step back, is that our defense did do really well today. They stepped up and they did make tackles. I mean, it's right here. We were able to hold 481s, and I'm gonna say that probably a biggest chunk of that came from the fourth quarter, but I was really impressed with how the defense did perform kind of in that second and third quarter. They really caught some lightning in the first half of the first quarter, and then somehow lost it somewhere in the fourth quarter. Guys, it is what it is. Again, Uman Mielen finally getting home on a sack. Is that what I have here? Yeah. Defense definitely cleaned it up. Kimber let a big play go by him, but that was really the only. I know I'm giving Jalen Kimber a lot of shit on this podcast, and some of it, yeah, is critical, but some of it too is really hoping that this kid steps it up a little bit, and I think he made significant improvements in this game as opposed to the previous games. Only really letting the one big play go over top of him, and again, if it hadn't have been for losing his balance, the receiver losing his balance on that play, that probably would have went for a tutty. King Smack finally missing a field goal. It was bound to happen, perfect other than the block in South Carolina, but nonetheless, we love King Smack. We're not taking that title from you, Trey. Don't worry. You are still King Smack. And we wish you the best the rest of the season. Sorry, that one was the one that had to, really kind of punch you in the gut. But, that's SEC ball. I think it's definitely been talked about quite a bit, and I think we know that the SEC is not for the faint of heart. And there's your proof right there. Again, the Razorbacks handling the Gators in the swamp for our salute to service. Noon games, I really don't like those two. Maybe we could do a little research on some stats with noon games. I'm not crazy about noon games. I'm not crazy about 3:30 games either. It's just something about the swamp at night, and maybe I'm just my suckers in the dirt a little bit, just a hair. Slow start to the second half, really just a slow second half. For me, that was just very uncharacteristic. I don't know if it was more of a response by Arkansas there, and maybe they were star, or maybe I don't know. I just saw that we weren't getting separation on the edges like we were. They started reading those pre-snap movements. They started understanding them a little bit more, and they were able to adjust and get the right people in place. I got to give a big hat tip to Trey Wilson. And I knew he was going to be a spectacular player the rest of the season. We thank him for stepping up. But man, let's look at the future of this kid as a Gator, hoping that there's an incentive for him to stay as a Gator. If he does, there are big things going to happen for Trey Wilson and the team as a whole, because these freshmen, despite this loss, freshmen are stepping up and playing. And if they'll stick with us and see the process through and see Coach Napier through, and if us Gator fans can be a little patient, we knew it was going to be a rough year, guys. We knew it was going to be a rough year. I think we got a little hopeful with, of course, Vanderbilt put some ants in our socks, and then South Carolina definitely, I think, gave us some false hope, and we really should have broke down South Carolina a little more and seen the details there. That even that game was a lot closer than it should have been, and with the exception of that fourth quarter, that last 10 minutes, that fourth quarter of that game, there really wasn't anything impressive to talk about. And I can say that although this was a fairly high-scoring game for two lowly teams, that was, I guess my head just goes back to that it shouldn't have been this close. I will reiterate that it's good to see our defense catch a little fire. Good to see some turnovers go in our direction, fumbles, interceptions. I think it's just a sign of the DBU coming back online. I miss those days. It's almost like we've forgotten, the defensive backs or the defense that we've had of old. And if we can focus on that, there's been a big offensive focus, and I agree we need that offensive focus, but it's almost like we've sacrificed our defense, because the Gators have always had a top defense, and now this is, again, uncharacteristic football. This is not the brand of football I'm used to from the Gators. However, I'd like to know what you guys think. Kind of on a side note, as a Gator fan, shout out to Josh Braun, a former Gator, transferred to Arkansas, kind of doing well over there. He and I have the same high school alma mater. Him and I are both Swanee Bulldogs. And for that, it's good to see that he's doing well. He's found a place, because he's a former Gator and had some success here. Was one of the first ones to hit the transfer portal. Was it last year, year before? I don't remember. But good to see him have some success. And unfortunately, he had to come do that on his old home turf here in the swamp. Another little thing about Arkansas, did anybody else notice how Sam Pittman looks a lot like Todd Grantham? Again, I hate to bring up old horrible bad shit from our past, but that just kind of was a hell of a resemblance. And my wife said he looks like the one guy, actor. I can't think of his name. He does. If you watch Rules of Engagement with Patrick Warburton, he plays Patrick Dad. That's the actor I'm talking about. Anyway, it's kind of a mixture between Todd Grantham and him. But however, guys, that was hard to watch. That last bit was hard to watch. It's hard to take any loss, but that one's going to hit a little different. This one's going to hit a lot like Vanderbilt did last year. Vanderbilt hurt. Like, I know we're going to lose games, okay? I don't think that I think that we're going to win every game, or even that we missed out on a 10-2 opportunity or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's been one or two games here these last couple seasons that just hurt worse, and this was this one this year. Not even as bad as Utah. This one hurt. This one hurt a little bit, and I'm really interested to see what this does for that. I said before the game, and I don't know if I said it here or if I was just talking to a loved one, but I mentioned Florida's willpower going to St. Augustine, and that South Carolina. My apologies. Shout out to St. Augustine. That's where we're broadcasting from. Anyhow, the Arkansas Razorbacks came to Gainesville in a lot of the same condition that Florida went up to South Carolina, with a need to win. You better pull one out of your ass somewhere, somehow, find a way. And that's what scared me, is that, number one, Florida's last in every defensive category in the SEC, and number two, Arkansas had something to prove. and they came and did it. And props to the Razorbacks, props to Arkansas, props to Sam Pittman, KJ Jefferson, Rocket Sanders, and that whole team for really putting on a show in the swamp. Getting your first win in Gainesville. Congratulations, I guess. And if the cocky in me may comment that I hope you enjoyed it, because I'd like to think they aren't going to come again, not for quite some time. Who we got? We got LSU, Missouri, Florida State. We're looking at 3 ranked teams. Again, 2 of those 3 quarterbacks on those teams are Heisman candidates. Gator fans, is it realistic to think that we can win one more game? And if so, against who? I could probably tell you it's not going to be in Columbia, Missouri. It's not going to be in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So the best hope that we really have to go for is either us taking to Columbia or Baton Rouge that same necessity to win that we did to South Carolina and that Arkansas brought to Gainesville today. Just other than that, do I think that Florida State can win in the swamp? You damn right I do. After that performance, it's not surprising that anybody can't come. We just took the last team and let them come to our house. Last team in the SEC came to our house and did that to us. 6-game losing streak. And the Gators are the ones that they step on to get back to the top. You know what? What is it? What are we missing? I'd love to hear what you guys think. I am going to take a short break, try to come up with something to say in the second half of this show. We'll be right back. Exclusively on YouTube. No Facebook, no Twitter, no Instagram, none of that. You can only find us here on YouTube, and you can only interact with us over in the comments, wherever those are on your device. Let me go over some stats real quick. KJ Jefferson, 20 for 31, 255 yards, 26 for 42 for Graham Mertz, 282. 3 touchdowns for Graham, 2 touchdowns for KJ Jefferson. KJ also has an interception on there, which Graham does not. Our backs, Montrell and Trevor, both with 12 carries apiece. Trevor, obviously the most successful one today. He's got 80 yards and a touchdown, 32 being his longest. And Montrell, he's 12 for 35, 10 being his longest. No touchdowns for him today, though. Raheem Sanders, Rocket Sanders, 18 carries for 103 yards, no touchdowns. And then KJ Jefferson, he's 17 for 92 yards. That's their quarterback. 17 carries for 92 yards. He outran our running backs. Alongst that 25-yard chipper that he got there, that was nice. Of course, 1 rushing touchdown from him. A.J. Green also on that side of the ball having a decent day, 10 for 34. Receiving, Trey, 8 receptions. Trey Wilson for the Gators, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Andrew Armstrong, their top receiver, 3 for 103, 48 long. No touchdowns on his, though. We do have Tyrone Broden and A.J. Green with touchdown receptions on that side of the field. And then we got Ricky Pearsall. He's got 1 touchdown. He had 5 catches for 55 yards. Big old 32 knocker in there, though, which was nice to see. Arkansas fumbling the ball on 2 occasions, and I'm sorry, 3 occasions, and losing one of those to the Gators. Good to see the Gators pick up on that. The Gators, we just had 1 fumble. We lost that fumble. We kept it clean pretty much from there on out. Jordan Castell, we're looking at about 11 tackles. 5 solo tackles. Manny Nunnery, 2 tackles. Scooby, see him back in the game with 4. But then on the other side of that, I mean, we got McLaughlin, 5 solo. Orlando Johnson, 4 solo. Jaheim Thomas, 4 solo. Walcott, I mean, they are just eating it up. Jalen Braxton, 3 solo tackles. I mean, they're just really eating it up on that side of the ball. We got the interception, of course. Kick returns, we got 3 for 83. They had 3 for 69. You know what? I'm just right now. I can't move on with that. That's just, it's really no point in really talking about any of this at this point. I do want to get together with you on Monday evening. I'm interested to see what my buddy Donnie B has to say here on the Tarkin Gator. We're going to do that live at 8 p.m. Eastern Monday. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate that if you like what we're doing. If not, please let us know in the comments. Tell us that we're just ignorant and we know nothing. Because that's kind of how I feel. I really felt like going into this game, I knew that nothing's given to you in the SEC, but I really thought that we had what it took to not lose in the swamp. So there it is, folks. I'm looking kind of forward to this evening. I'm looking forward to watching LSU and Alabama. That's going to be a good game. I'm going to take LSU in this one. I like what they're doing, their brand of ball right now, and I think with Alabama, it's just a great time to take a shot at Alabama and really put LSU, just kind of seal LSU over there, and then of course, you know, we got to go see them. So, guys, the Gators losing overtime, and it's not easy at all. I look forward to seeing you guys Monday evening. Again, that's going to be live at 8 p.m. Donnie B is going to join me. Until then, through all kinds of weather, see if we can make it through the week. Go Gators.